Guys, welcome to our monthly Accelerate session. Easily my favorite session of the month, where we get an opportunity to interview a successful gym owner. And I should be upfront in explaining these guys are doing really well. I don't think there's much benefit in interviewing unsuccessful gym owners. So yeah, that's the intention today. I want to welcome to the call Michelle and Nathan from Gold's Gym in Miranda. How are you guys?
We're good.
G'day.
Hi. We're
Thanks
good.
for joining us. Michelle, you're an owner of the gym. Nathan's a manager. How long have you guys been there? How long's the gym been set up?
So we opened on December 16th, 2015. It took us about a year to actually get the doors open from the time that we decided to open our Gold's Gym. And Nathan has been with us since a year and 1 day before we actually opened the gym. He applied via Facebook for a job, and turned out we trained at the same gym. So we kind of got to chatting and hanging out, and my husband gave him a bit of a fright on the gym floor by introducing himself because he's a big boy and Nathan wasn't quite as big at the time. And yeah, we started just for the year of getting the gym built. Nathan was a really integral part of that, along with his fiance at the time, who is now his wife, and been running it ever since. So it will be open for 8 years this December.
Congratulations. That's a big effort. And Michelle, like, for some background for anyone that's sort of watching the video live or even the replay, what were you sort of doing before you decided to go out and sign up to, a Gold's franchise?
Yeah, so I have only worked in the fitness industry since I was 19 years old. I did my diploma of fitness, and I was a group personal trainer, a group instructor, personal trainer. I had my own kids business teaching sport in primary schools and after school cares. And then also, once I had my first son, it was a little bit too hard to juggle all of the PT hours and everything. So I went into corporate fitness. I did work for an anytime fitness for a while, a year or a year and a half, I think it was, and then was sort of headhunted by another 24-hour chain where I worked as a national franchise manager, and opened 54 clubs for them around Australia. And then wanted to open my own club, and it was just taking forever with it was Plus Fitness, great chain, but it was just taking a long time to try and get something up and running and with them. And I was working a lot. I wanted to have another kid, so left with no kind of ambition to open my own gym in the sort of near future. And then Ed, my husband, saw Gold's Gym was franchising and was like a kid in a candy store for a bodybuilder to see that, and made me ring them, and we met with them, and it all was pretty much from there. We said, yep, let's just go for it, and signed on to a club that was probably 4 times bigger than I had originally.
A good apprenticeship. Like, you've obviously done years in different brands, and a lot of what we do, regardless of what t-shirt we're wearing, is kind of helping people get fitter and stronger. So I'm sure there's plenty of sort of transfer over. What about yourself, Nathan? What was your background? Have you sort of come from, working in gyms and stuff yourself?
I did quite a bit of hospitality prior to becoming a personal trainer. I'm also a qualified zookeeper.
Yes.
It helps with the animals in here.
And that was just kind of a hard industry to kind of get into, and I decided to become a personal trainer just because I was training at the time for footy, and wanted to kind of learn a bit more myself. Wasn't so much to actually kind of get a job, but then it kind of just worked that way. So I got hired at Vision in Slovenia. That was my first PT. I did a bit of outdoor stuff myself, and wanted to kind of get indoors. And I liked. I wanted to obviously work in a smaller gym first. I was going to go to a place like Fitness First, and wanted to kind of learn a bit more from like a PT studio base. I was there for a short period of time, learned quite a lot, but then decided to go out on my own into a bigger gym. Just felt a bit restricted with the size of the gym itself, and then went to work at a Jets, which wasn't too far away from there. Did quite well, went there for a few years, But same thing, just I wanted to not just become PT, but I wanted to learn more of the business side of things. And didn't really kind of get that opportunity there. And then, saw the Facebook page for Gold's Gym Miranda coming soon. And I thought, well, I'm going to take a punt and see if there's, got some availabilities there, and express my interest to not just become a personal trainer, but to do sales or just to work the desk and to learn that side of things as well. Just to kind of be there, obviously being a fan of the brand, just want to kind of get amongst it, not just become a personal trainer. So, was training at Crunch one day, and Ed decided to tap me on the shoulder and said, "Are you Nathan?" and shit myself. And then kind of explained
what was happening.
who he, and I'd seen Ed and Michelle there at the roughly same time quite a lot. So it was just, we just happened to train at a similar time. And I guess, everything's kind of, the rest is history. So in total,
Good.
I think I'm maybe 13 years now as a personal trainer. And it's been good. I said, I don't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah, I love your story. I think sometimes people can be new to the fitness industry and pretty hard on themselves. If they open and it's not kind of nearing capacity after 12 months, it's like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? But obviously everyone comes from different backgrounds, which is encouraging. Like you guys have obviously overcome COVID, and you've got dozens of gyms all around you. But you've got a really good sort of partnership, different backgrounds, different skills. So I definitely want to touch on that later. For anyone that doesn't know you guys, how many active members do you have in your 24-hour gym at the moment?
So we have around, we run Fitness Passport here as well, but we have close to 1,000 on direct debit. Yep. And then we have, look, my paid in full memberships, I think I did look at them yesterday, and I believe they're about 66. Yep. And then we have Fitness Passport. So whereas our system might say that we have 1,500 to 2,000 people on Fitness Passport, of those Fitness Passport people, there's around 300 to 350 people that actively use the gym on Fitness Passport that we get paid for per month. The other people, fees are active, but they're not using the club.
Okay. And if I came in and I want to train at Gold's in Miranda today, what would I pay sort of weekly for gym access and a membership?
Yeah. So if you wanted to join on a 12-month membership, it's $22 per week. Yep. There's also a 6-month option, which is $25 a week. And our no lock-in contract is $27 per week.
Yeah, so good. I'm really curious. You've got 3 good options there. Do you see a certain trend? What do most people buy? The 12, the 6-month, or the month by month?
Nathan does more of that than me, but I think I know the answer, but I'll let him.
What's your gut sort of tell you? What do you think?
Mine goes to the $22 a week. People are more than happy to lock into 12 months.
Yep.
And the ones that do join on a sort of 6 or a lock-in contract, we actually try and convert them over within the first 3 so that they're paying a little bit less, but they're committing to us for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I love that. We actually signed someone up for a personal training a couple of weeks ago, and they'd had a bad experience with a direct debit at an unnamed big brand, sort of big box gym. We have a higher casual rate, and I just said, "What? Let's just start. Like, let's get you going." But is it okay in a month or so if I touch base? If you're loving it, will you let me move you over to a membership so I can save you some money? And she was like, yeah, of course. So I love that you've actually got a process and almost an expectation that you'd have to be doing something wrong. If they're still coming into the gym, you'd almost have to be doing something wrong for them not to then switch over to that sort of cheaper option down the track. So that's so cool. Tell me a little bit about some of the wins you've had recently. I know you've been nominated for a couple of Gold's Gym awards. What were they?
So Gold's Gym have a annual convention. It's a global thing. So Gold's is in over 50 countries around the world. So they all meet up at one place every year. This year, I believe it's in Santa Monica, I think. And we have become finalists in 2 categories. So we are the only gym in any of the goals that are in 2 categories as a finalist. So that was pretty cool. And
Good.
we are finalists in exceptional customer service and most improved upgraded gym. So we did a renovation
I love that.
in the club as well. So that's what that one is for. Exceptional customer service. So the we win because we're not going this year.
Okay. I think you might have just cut out a little bit at my end, but you said that you've sort of invested some money into refreshing the look of the gym. So part of it was like a new look, and the other part was customer service. Nathan, you're the manager. You're in there sort of chatting to all the members on a day-to-day basis. What do you feel like you do well when it comes to customer service that might have contributed to getting nominated for something like that?
Well, I think, like, from my point of view, I guess, and from working for Ed and Michelle, when you actually have people that care, like, the reason why they've opened a gym is to help people. It's not just an investment or I mean, it is a business at the end of the day. And I think that kind of then, and that's how I am. I got into the industry to help people, and same with Adam and Tamika. I mean, I think when you've got a team around you that they're generally there and in this job to help people and actually genuinely care when they ask questions about members or how their training are going, it's not just a retention thing, it's they genuinely care. And I think our members can see that.
It shows in the sales process, I think, with the new people that come in the door, that it's somebody that's asking about them and not just showing them equipment or, here's the prices, off you go, I'm on the phone or whatever. There's an actual service behind it. Like, the guys are trained in doing the actual services, but they're also, their own personalities come through because they want to be involved in the industry and they want to genuinely help the people.
Yeah, I like that. I sometimes talk about the sales process with different gym owners, and I think the more authentic you can be, the more people sort of pick up on that. If it feels like a script, or it feels like they're being pushed through like the sausage factory of, there's our spin room and there's our free weights and there's our bathroom. Yeah. Would you like to join up? It feels like a lot of that old school kind of fitness industry stuff. But if they talk about their favorite class, or they talk about they love that there's 16 different exercises for legs, or you can hit different muscle groups or variety, like those types of things, I think come across a lot more authentic, and therefore it stands out. Because I'm imagining if they come to my gym or your gym, they may be looking around, they may be on some other websites and stuff. So you guys are doing a good job to differentiate. You've had some other wins. I've written down a couple of them. Do you mind if I sort of pick your brain a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah, tell us. I know you've recently set up like a joint venture successfully with another local company. Can you share a bit about it? Who is it? How did you set it up?
Okay, I will share the whole sorted story with you. So we did set up, we had a joint venture with a local business, and I use the word had, but it's got a good,
this one's fallen over. Okay.
It's got a good outcome, and actually an even better outcome than the joint venture in a way. So we had set it up with the business next door, and we had our proposal, which was about 10 pages long, about the business and the gym. And the actual owner of the business next door had been a member with us for 3 years and was doing personal training with Nathan for a good chunk of that. And he was really happy with the proposal, but he believed that our price wasn't cheap enough, even though it was. And so he was going to incentivize his staff members to join by sort of making it a little bit cheaper as well. He was saying they can pay, we had given them, it was $19 a week, and he wanted to say, I'll give them $5 off as well. So they pay us $19, and then quarterly he would gift back each staff member $5 per week as well. That wasn't in our proposal. That was something that he decided to do, and we were like, that's fine, but we're not changing our prices. And we had basically said it was for a minimum of 30 people that would come across.
Yep.
And Nathan was heavily involved. He was the driving force of it, and I give him full credit for the joint venture, because it took a lot of effort and it took a lot of planning, and it was all ready to go. But then as things happened, we went across to sign up the minimum of 30 people, and only 15 people were there. But we were like, that's fine. It takes people a while to, these 15 will get the ball rolling for the other 15.
Yep.
So let's get it all going. We gave PT. A lot of the staff members signed up for additional packages as well, which worked really, really well. We weren't expecting that. But then one Sunday afternoon at lunchtime, the owner of the business decided to send me 1,000,001 WhatsApp messages about what he believed we should be doing for him financially, since he was bringing all these people into our business and he wanted all of this and he wanted all of that. And it literally went lunchtime till about 6:30 at night. When I just said to him, I'm putting the pin on your corporate deal. You can go away if you want to. So we contacted all of the people that had joined, the 15 of them. One of them left, and that was him.
Yeah, wow.
So he left, and we actually got more people. We said, we'll keep the same price. We will do everything exactly the same. And to this day, if anybody comes from next door and wants to join, we will still give them the $19 a week. We have.
Tell me, what type of business is it?
It's a vet clinic. It's a 24-hour vet clinic. And
how did you come up with the number 30? It seems like a random number. Why did you choose 30 as the minimum threshold?
Between 30 and 50 so the corporate rate was staggered. So anywhere between 30 and 50 got $19 a week. If we brought on 50 to, I believe, 75, then the rate dropped to $18 a week. And so it went, because there's 200 people that work next door. So that was just our baseline. It was going to get a lot cheaper the more people that came across.
Wow.
But yeah, we've had more people join from the vet clinic next door since he left, because they don't want to train with their boss.
Wow.
So we're still winning.
So little wins or takeaways, guys. You've gone to a member who has a business. I think that's a very clever tactic.
We didn't approach him. He approached me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But as a model, that's actually very clever. I'm wondering for yourselves, or even guys that sort of watching the video, think about your existing database. Does anyone own a real estate agent? Do they own a business of some sort? If I'm brutally honest, I don't know if I would have been too concerned that 15 came in. I like that you gave them a benchmark. I love that you had some structure around it, but 15 people on direct debit's winning.
Still great for us. That's what we said. We will start with it and we'll keep rolling with it. We didn't care that it was only 15 people. It was we went next door, we signed them up. They didn't have to come into the club. We went and met with them, and then on their first visit, there's more. Fortunately, he just literally, with those 15 people, he was wanting financial back to him in a way that was going to only increase the more and more, to the point where we would have been in the red had we given him what he wanted outside of what was already agreed upon on the proposal. And then a lot of his staff were coming and saying to us as well, this is very like him. He's very money focused, which each to their own, but I just want happy people in my gym. I don't need a headache. I've had too many headaches with things like that. So we did it.
I think that's an important thing. Like you guys have done really, really well to come up with some type of structure around it. I always found with joint ventures, the hardest work is getting your head around, well, how are we going to do this? But once we did it, we did one with American Express, we did one with ANZ. We literally just rinsed and repeated it. And we go, okay, well, maybe it's not 30, the threshold, maybe it's 10, or like we just kind of tweaked it a little bit, but 90% of it was kind of ready to go. I think little things I've tried is just comping the owner like a membership. So they're sort of doing something for free. I think that's really generous. Yeah, I think just understanding that some of that feedback or challenge was just a personality thing. It's not like you like. I've done lots of joint
Yeah.
ventures. I've never had someone come back like that. I think that was just him. I think you could
Yeah.
set up another 10 and no one would give you that sort of thing. So well done. Adam, a lot of work to sort of get the document, bit of back and forth, but you've taken some away from it. I tell you what's cool is getting 15 people to sign up at once rather than one by one. So well done.
And I think just to chime in, I think going back on the reason why I think some of those people decided to stay is because when we spoke to them, look, the whole point of it was to get it in front of these people next door and show like we're here to help. We're literally next door. We're a great facility. We're it's good equipment. Once they kind of came across and met us and saw that it's yes it was a corporate thing and we were trying to kind of do a business deal. We did it just so we can get in front of them and show them how to utilize the gym and make them feel good and the benefits of exercising. Not just for themselves, but obviously being in the workplace and stuff. And now they're actually consistent members. Like I trained 2 of them as a part of a PT membership. So they're on a PT membership on top of their rate. So it wasn't for them. I don't think it was a matter of them getting a cheap rate because they're paying more now. It was them just initially taking that initial step to come in, meet us, and because of how we kind of do things, I guess on a personal level, a lot of them have stayed. That he showed the business side of things and what that is, and we showed what we do, and they could see through that. So they stayed. And then obviously word got around because I spoke to quite a few of them, and one of the ladies I actually trained is his personal assistant. So
it's fascinating.
They all came along. So
yep.
And that's fine. It is, but I mean, I trained the guy for 3 years and didn't really kind of see any issues until that kind of happened, and I told him where to go. So because we stick to who we are.
For those that are only new to the Gym Hub program or maybe just like watching the video, we did a challenge back in May. We got all the Gym Hub members, if they wanted to take part in a free challenge where we were trying to see how much we could increase our sales during the month of May. You guys actually came first. I think you're able to sell at an extra, what was it, $7,318 to your reoccurring monthly billing. So you were first place. Tell me, what types of things have you been doing in marketing that have been helping?
Look, so the $7,000, that was before cancellation, so with full transparency. But still we did get over $3,000 in our billing. So for us, it's honestly, wouldn't have been, we wouldn't have done anything if it wasn't for like you, I guess, and Gym Hub. It's the accountability of it. It's just pushing and making sure that every single person counts. For us, we are only a really small team and we can get a little bit complacent and we can just, but during May, every single team member was 1,000,000% focused on getting that 2K in May. And we had the account, like for us having a business mentor, like what we call you, is without a doubt the only reason that we actually pushed as hard as we did, because I would never, if I had set a challenge for my team, they would just be like, back then, Michelle's on a mission again, and it would get forgotten because we're all busy and we do other things. And because it came from somewhere else as well, I was accountable to you and the guys were accountable to Nathan and Nathan was accountable to me. We really, really pushed it hard for that. The marketing side of things, you guys organized all our Facebook ads. So that was fantastic. It was one thing I didn't have to worry about. And then we actually we had a little bit of just normal marketing, but it was just pushing as a sales team, a lot of training with the staff to get them working on the logical trade-in, on the day sales, working with those type of things that just, we were pumped with it. And we actually still do it each month now. So one of the key things that we've taken from that 2K in May challenge is not so much pushing for 2K each, whoops, something's falling down off a wall, is not pushing for 2K. It's actually just writing down how much money each recurring week we get. So we do it behind us, which you can't see because there's a banner up, but that's our tally board there. And it will say week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And we have a look at that and write it down at the end of each week.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the month, take out the cancellation so we can see a dollar figure.
Yeah.
And that's
Since May.
since May, thanks to that actual one challenge, how it's brought the rest of our business to that point.
I love it. Guys, if you're following along, I'm scribbling down some notes. Takeaways. So they had the highest amount of sales and additional revenue added to their gym. And yeah, selfishly looking for ways I can improve our gym and our sort of monthly reoccurring revenue, but also encouraging you to look for takeaways. So the first one is having a focus that everyone kind of knew about. Everyone had the same type of target. Number 2, treating everyone like an opportunity or like a person. You said in the past, you might have had people slip through the cracks, whatever, but you made sure that you looked after everyone. Number 3, some level of accountability. So I'm trying to keep you accountable, checking in each week, but you're also checking with the guys and going, where did this lead go? How did we go with that? Is there any way we can sort of follow them up, maybe invite their partner in or something? So there's some level of accountability. 4, there's some Facebook ads. So guys, if you're sort of new to the Facebook stuff, we've got a few things we help with, but one of them is making sure there's a video explaining your offer. We make sure the offer is really compelling. It's high value, low risk. And we've got lots of images. So one of the things we started, you guys, if you remember, we were doing lots of images, but it could have been sort of any gym. And I guess what we underutilized was how good some of the images and the equipment stuff is at Gold's. I actually think your clientele appreciate the equipment. They appreciate the types of like the culture that's in there. So when we flick the images to better represent you guys, that definitely seemed to help. Number 5, logical trade-in. If you're new to Gym Hub, logical trade-in is just like a little conversation. It takes 60 seconds on day 1, where we ask the people that are trialing the gym if logically it makes sense to trade in their trial for a membership, because you can't, add 5 kilos of muscle in a week, or you can't sort of lose 10 kilos in a week. And what's pretty cool is that a bunch of people traded in and they just go straight into sort of memberships. The last one is track the numbers. So if you're keeping sort of notes while you're following this along, tracking the numbers obviously is an important one. You guys kind of have certain benchmarks you aim for monthly. Nathan, you once shared that you only scraped through, I don't know if it was May or June or one of the months, but you said like they were kind of a target set and everyone was rallying on the 30th or the 31st to kind of get there.
Yeah.
Tell us how having a target, whatever the target is, kind of helped like bring out the best in your team.
I think it just carried over, like knowing that we had like the dollar value, or to try and hit that 2K in May, was just something else adding towards the end goal of hitting the target. I think we've just been more driven now with actually setting targets, making them sure they're actually realistic, but obviously not easily achievable, because you still got to obviously set a decent benchmark, but actually try and work towards it. And then if we don't hit it, then generally we'd be pissed off with it and be accountable about it, which I think every time we've not hit target, it's been or we'll just try it again next month. Like prior to that, and even after May when we haven't hit it, there's been a lot more discussions about why we didn't hit it and genuine being pissed off that we haven't, and then what we're going to do better next time. Whereas before, it basically just gets swept under the rug and just move on. And then when we do hit target, everyone gives massive raps, and it's a really good feeling across the board. And so why wouldn't you want to kind of have that every single month? It just seems silly. So
Adam is very sales orientated as well. So he's our main salesperson, and he
likes his goals, and
he likes his goals, which we've realized with him, and he will, can I stay back to do, he's very, very focused. And if he knows that he's only got a couple to get towards the end, he'll kind of, do whatever it takes to get there. So it's really good having someone that wants to do the same thing in your business. They're not just looking at it as a, nine till five job. I'm here, I've got a purpose, and he's really come a long way as well since we've been adding those targets and making them specific for him. So he's a really big, and he pushes the other nighttime girl as well to make the sales. So it's good. Everybody knows what they have to do, and they know that they're going to have a great feeling once it's done. And we reward them, financially, and also team dinners and things like that as well, which are always nice to get out together. So it's good.
Yeah, I find my staff and in most gyms I've sort of been into, because we're from the fitness industry or maybe even a sporting background or something, a lot of us like goals. A lot of us like having something to aim for. And if you gamify it or give them a bit of a target, like they love it. I love it. I like having a target myself. So I think, not setting a target that's 100% bigger than what you've been averaging the last 3 months. That's sort of setting them up for failure. At the same time, giving them something that's kind of maybe a target. You might have a stretch target with some type of it, like additional bonus.
Well, we have a set target, and then we have a stretch target, and they're based off what our figures were last year. So where we were, how many memberships we signed up at this particular time last year, and then I add to it because we're a better, stronger team than what we were last year, and that's why how they know. I tell them, this is what we did last year. What do you think we can do this year, based on the fact that we have had 6 months with Gym Hub? The guys jump on and do the training, all the online in Kajabi. They'll have a look at that. We utilize all of the stuff. So what do you think we can achieve now that we are so much stronger as a team than we were this time 6 months ago? So
and Adam's logged in on those calls heaps of times. I love that he's open to learning. I love that he sees it as an opportunity to sort of get better at his own sort of trade. What do you think your team has improved on most in terms of sales that's kind of helping? Because I feel like you're doing more with less, if that makes sense. Like I think you've probably had months before where you've had 60 leads or 100 leads, but I just feel like you're doing more with them now. What do you think they're doing better in terms of sales?
I mean, we probably both got a different, I don't know if it's different, but for me, it's they're actually, sounds really bad, but doing their job. Like they come in and they know their targets, which we've discussed. And, I have in the past been I'm a pretty relaxed, easygoing owner, and I'm pretty chilled out. I don't necessarily set targets. I used to do it a lot, and then over COVID got really relaxed with things and just let things go. And now I'm a lot more focused, which having Nathan here as the club manager. So Nathan left for a few months and he's come back. That's been huge for the team as well. But everybody, including them in absolutely everything, and not just saying make the sales guys, like getting the sales team involved in the planning of the promotions has been big, letting them know, having a bit more a say in how things work. And one of the things for us is having a promotion not just for 1 month and changing it. So that's been a real big game changer, I think, for us. We stick to doing something for around 3 months. If it's working, we might tweak it if it needs some work, like we've been doing with the ads and things like that. But I think giving the team the time to get to know a campaign, and then they can work with it. When you give them only 4 weeks, by the time they've really picked up how to sell it and what's happening with it, it's like, oh, change it, different promo. Then they're still trying to sell that something different to that same person sometimes. So for us, it's just time. What do you think?
I think kind of what Michelle said at the end about, before we used to just have join, get $0 join fee, get a week free or do it. And that was pretty much come in off that. And then let's try and sell a membership. Whereas now we have these campaigns.
Selling a service.
Yeah. So, and like showcasing the gym, using the Facebook pages. So we're getting better quality leads. So when those people come in and doing like things like the logical trading and just getting them more confident in their sales, they just obviously create, it's just a better service. Well, they're getting better quality leads. And I think that's just, obviously the more training they do through the online portal that we use with you guys, and then our separate meetings that I have with them, I think it's just a total like going from the the ads we're putting out, the inquiries that are coming in, they're doing their job in the sense of the inquiries come through, they make their call. If they follow up, they use the call script, they're booking people in. So just from start to finish, they're completing things. Whereas I find there was a lot of gaps when I came back. There was just a lot of kind of unfinished things or people being missed. Inquiries that were being called once, and then they'd have more inquiries. And that 3 or 4 people would be missed. They call them once, and that was it. And if they try to call them again a week later, they probably join somewhere else. So I think, like, to be honest, like just from start to finish, like just a total process, has been they're just more efficient.
I think one of the things I think it was like GE that have what is it, Good to Great, one of those kind of books that talks about I think they interviewed the top 100 Fortune 500 companies, and they interview a whole bunch of them and ask them, what makes a good company great. And GE gave an example where they sort of do an axis where you've got the attitude on the vertical axis, and then you got performance on the horizontal axis. And if you sort of imagine like 4 squares, you've got people in the bottom left-hand corner that are both low attitude and low performance. And I think this is the analogy I use is trying to turn a donkey into a racehorse. I just think sometimes we make the mistake of hiring the wrong person. And if they're kind of low attitude, you can't really retrain them. If they're low performance, they haven't really sold anywhere before. That's kind of our fault. We just got to move them on. But if you imagine the other sort of 4 squares, you can have someone that's high attitude, really enthusiastic. They're low performance. I think we acknowledge that they might require a bit more training, a bit more accountability. Check in with them each week and say, hey, how are you going with this? Is there anything I can help with? If someone's high attitude, high performance, like a Nathan, you promote them, like you put them into a position of leadership where they can help others. Obviously, if they're high performance, low attitude, that's where I think you just give them a chance to sort of realign them. So again, I'll put that little sort of 4 square diagram out, but I like the fact that you've identified that there were some good processes originally, but adherence to the processes is different. Finding little opportunities or gaps. I know there was lots of people sort of coming in, we're sort of hoping in some regard that the gym might kind of sell it, but and the guys on any time on the call, if they meet someone, if you answer their questions, if you give them a bit of direction around food or exercise, they're far more likely to actually buy it. So I love that you guys have sort of acknowledged things that your team are doing really, really well. I love that you've invited your team to come on these sessions as well, because it gives you good leverage.
Yeah, I think training is the biggest takeaway for us in the last, year, I think 8 months, a year, however long it's been. The training for everybody equals confidence, and more confidence means a better environment for everybody, including the members and potential people coming in the door.
Yeah. It's really good. Another win that you guys have had recently, I know you're a 24-hour gym. You often do promotions like on Facebook to try and get more members in the door. But you recently switched and did one around sort of personal training and your challenge. Are you able to share the result of that in terms of getting more people involved?
For the current challenge we have now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a 4-week Transform in 4 challenge. Usually we've done an 8-week boot camp style thing where people pay $400 for 4 weeks, that is all group training, and there's literally not much in it except that we add some classes on board. There's no measurements, no photos, unless the client wants it, but it's not something that's pushed. But we would still get, 20 people that would do these boot camps, and they would consistently, a lot of the time, they'd be the same people that would do the boot camps. We are not a class gym, so that was something that would bring in those people that just wanted classes and they could do the boot camps. This time around, so when we ran the figures, the boot camps, when we paid the trainers and the coaches and all of that, they don't make money. So for us, because we didn't have that high amount, so we want to push more towards working one-on-one and doing semi-private with our PT. So we wondered what we could do to enhance that. So we went on a call with Cam who helped us set up our PT structure. And then we decided to do this Transform in 4. So it's a $50 registration fee for each person.
Yep.
And to be part of the challenge over the course of the 4 weeks, you just have to do one PT session a week with a personal trainer. So instead of it being, you know, a $400 lump sum, come if you can, do whatever you want for boot camp, it was a minimum of $57 a week, which is how much our 30-minute PT costs on a direct debit through the gym.
Yep.
And we have had 46 or 48?
48.
48 people that we currently have. We are now in week 3 of our challenge, and they are all, majority of them, I would say, are doing 2 to 3 sessions a week of either half an hour or an hour sessions. And of those 48, there's probably about 15, I believe, probably now, that are brand new PT clients. The other people are existing PT clients that we're just giving them a push by joining the challenge. But we've had a lot of success so far. Adam who's our newest trainer, has had already, so yesterday he had 2, today it's now up to 3 people saying that they want to continue doing PT with him after the 4 weeks is up, which was our end goal, essentially, was to make the PT continue to flow on, not just for a 4-week challenge. So it's been hugely successful, and the energy around it is really, really positive as well.
I love it. I like that you probably identified, you can introduce a challenge, but if it's kind of the same as what they do every other week, not many people get behind it. Like, it's hard to have enthusiasm if it feels pretty similar. I just keep going to the gym. I track on the board, maybe on the whiteboard, what I'm doing. So I like that there's a bit more structure, like your 24-hour gym, but you can obviously kick things up with personal training. I've written down 4 R's, and I feel like you've ticked the box for all of these. So when you sell more personal training, you help them to actually get better results. So if they see a trainer, you can actually give them accountability with their food, adjust their technique. The second R is referrals. So off the back of this, make sure you're checking in with them and saying, hey, who else do you think would benefit from coming in and doing, 2 weeks of training? The third one is revenue. If they're paying $400 and they were doing, they're paying a minimum of $57 a week, and they were spending $20 a week, you're making more money. So that's revenue. And the last one is retention. We jumped on a call earlier. Chrissy was kind enough to talk about sales and marketing are crushing, but retention's really hit her over winter. I like that you've actually kind of done this on the edge of winter. I think people that are doing a challenge and they feel like they're progressing, is it fair to assume a lot of them are sort of doing well? Like, you're not having mass exodus of all those guys?
No, they're all doing really, really well. We've seen people that would normally, even existing PT clients that would normally just come in and do their PT sessions and leave. We've seen them now coming in and doing extra sessions because they want to hit the step count, or they want to make sure that, so even though it's a group challenge, we have Team Mish, Team Nathan, Team Adam, and Team Tamika.
I love that.
Team Nathan might want to beat Team Mish by, we set, certain things like calories on the treadmill and basic things like that. And, Nathan's team will post up saying they did this. So I'll post up saying, well, my team better do this. So there's that little bit of competition there for them. And they're coming in on their own and doing those stuff too, which is really, really cool, especially for the clients that we've had for a long time that just come and do PT. They have nothing else. They know their trainer. They say hello to the desk and then they leave. Now they're having that little bit of banter with other people in the gym, which is huge for retention, for one, but also huge for them to come, and they're going to smash more of their goals because they're doing a little bit more.
Yeah, I think if you give people structure and you say, hey, over 4 weeks, we're going to be doing A, B, and C, and this is how we'll help you to get a good result. I think if you give them some type of option, some type of structure post-challenge, a bunch of them will continue on. That's been my experience. Alternatively, for all the ones that sort of start and then finish, there's still opportunities to do things like that a couple of times a year just to get them all together and sort of rev them up. I think that sort of challenge format where 3 times a year you give them a chance to get together and extra help, I think that's a good format.
Yeah, it was definitely good for us. For, as I said, it was the first time we've done a PT focus challenge, and we really weren't sure if we would get any new people on board. We've kind of pushed our existing clients and said you're doing it, but Nathan had a really good idea of we've got a we just started a community board and we hadn't done anything with it yet, so we got all the names and we wrote down all our clients that were doing the challenge, and that really helped on the gym floor. People took notice of it and went, oh, what is this?
Yeah, FOMO.
Yeah.
Cam told me that one.
Cam told him that one.
And guys, if you're following along, Cameron Hoban is one of our coaches in Gym Hub. At any time, if you're stuck or you need to just, get some specific help, you can book a one-on-one with Cameron. The booking link is just inside the members portal. But he had his own gym for 17 years. He's had a lot of success, including selling it for a good profit. Sounds like, that was beneficial for you guys.
Yeah, no, it meant that people on the gym floor, they saw it, they wanted to be a part of it. You can't see them now, but we actually have walking marketing shirts on that are promotions for the actual, it says transforming for ask us how type thing. So that was a big thing in terms of the marketing for it, because not everybody, as much as we love Facebook and Instagram, not everybody looks at it or they don't know about it, and they can at least come in and see things physically in the gym. And people don't look at posters, they don't look at them. But when the staff are in a different colored shirt, black is not our color, when the staff are in a different colored shirt, they'll take notice because it's something different.
The real pattern interrupt.
Yeah.
It's good. And I think you guys are creating IP. Like you can have a franchise, there's a bunch of cool systems. You want to utilize them as much as you can. But there's also like strengths from your staff. Like Nathan's obviously has experience in bodybuilding, has experience in helping others to get strong or put on size. Another gym might have a marathon runner. Another team might be good. Another gym might have someone that's done competitively in a sport or something like that, where they can be doing like agility or speed sort of work with teenagers. So I think
Nathan did the Sutherland to surf. He's a little upset that you're not calling him a marathon runner. I made him do the Sutherland to surf. Remember, Steve? He runs.
I do remember that. I think you're very brave taking on the cardio and the strength goals at the same time. That's a whole lot of muscle mass to be running down the Kingsway. But my point is, guys, use what you can if you've got a franchise, or if you guys set up your own gym, you're an independent gym, keep using your own systems and stuff, but don't be scared to create IP. So the challenge that we have is something that we've tried to brand ourselves. So we have our own hashtag. If you've had a good experience with this one, don't be scared to reuse that hashtag, that branding. Pull out the shirts again next year if it's beneficial. People get used to it. I love that 48 people joined your challenge, but I guarantee you another 48 went, what the hell have I just missed? I'll do that next time. So yeah, we just we're finishing our challenge in the next couple of days. I know everyone's that didn't do it's looking at the progress of people on the chart going, oh my God, I should have done that. We'll definitely do one in February. We'll definitely get more uptake from everyone that was sort of sitting on the fence. So the hard part, doing your first challenge. The easy part is you just changing and optimizing that exact same formula by 10% and just rolling it out again.
Yeah, no, it's been very, very good. We're happy with it, and we'll definitely be doing it again. We'll run another one closer to the end of the year, just because they're only 4 weeks as well. And we have had people ask about it. And coming into the warmer months. That's why we've chosen to do this a little bit earlier on, just to get a feel for it and see if it was something we could work with the amount of staff that we have, and it's definitely worked. So we'll be doing it again.
Yeah, I love it. Guys that are on the call today, Dave, Larissa, any questions for our guests today, Michelle and Nathan? Do you want to pop your microphone on if you have a question? I've been hogging the mic a little bit, just asking all the stuff. Asking all the stuff I wanted to ask. If you think of something, feel free to let me know. Larissa might have a question.
Yeah, I might have missed it at the start because I was getting a coffee, but where did you guys start at? I just want to know the growth I jumped in when you were saying where you are with membership numbers now, but I'm curious to know when you started Gym Hub, where were your numbers at?
Yep. So I almost have I can almost get the exact data because we get a snapshot from our head office and they told us what we had in July last year, which we didn't start with, Steve, until November. But I will also add that July, August, and September and most of October, Nathan wasn't here either. And we were in a pretty dark place. I was about to sell the gym. I didn't want the gym anymore. We had a few toxic staff, and it was not my happy place at that particular time. So numbers were going down because I didn't have, I still have the same team members, but I didn't nurture them as much as I should have at that time because we had a couple of toxic people. And unfortunately, the team members that are amazing we still have, but they saw that part of the business too. So our numbers went down pretty bad. From in July last year, we were sitting on around, I believe, and I don't have the exact number, but I think it was around 840 on direct debit in July last year. I could check the snapshot, but it's on this computer.
Yep.
And now we are sitting on, as of yesterday, 977 on direct debit. That's not including obviously Fitness Passport or paid in full members. But we've also set up, Larissa, we've now run PT through the gym. So we had subcontractors. We still have 2 subcontractors that run their business and pay rent, or independent contractors, sorry. And we now, Adam and Nathan, also do personal training for the business now. So they get paid commission on top of their normal wage, but their revenue goes through the gym. So that's been a huge thing that Gym Hub has helped us set up. Cam's been really big on that as well and helping us just with how to set that all up. But yeah,
and you're seeing a big difference in employment with PTs rather than contracting.
Yeah, look, we have, I think, again, it's the accountability and what you can control. So the toxic people that we had that I've mentioned earlier were subcontracting PTs. And I'm not saying that they're all bad, because we've got one fabulous girl now who was an employee of mine just on the desk, and she wanted to see if she could do it for herself as a subby. So we offered that to her, and she's going great at it, and she still works on the desk as a casual receptionist. And we have another subcontractor that has been a part of our Golds family for about 7 years, and he was meant to come on board before COVID hit as a subcontractor, and he's actually just starting in a few weeks' time. So subbies have their place, but for us, it's been a really, really big game changer in holding the team together and getting the most out of the people on the desk. Gym hours are long hours, we know that. So if they can break up their day by being out on the gym floor and chatting to members, and it's member retention, they're doing the orientations, it's that one-stop shop thing, that's been really, really good for the members to see that the person at the front desk is qualified and can answer their questions too, not just sign them up type thing. But yeah, we've, as I said, that's nearly 150 debit increase, I think it would be roughly, since starting with Steve, and also since having Nathan back and getting rid of the toxic people. So 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
It's been a winning, like, I'm happy again. I'm not selling. We're looking at potentially doing a second club with Nathan jumping on board as part owner if we can find somewhere. So yeah, we're in a really, really big, different place, and it's accountability to Steve that's helped me a lot, and Nathan coming back as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well done.
Thank you.
Hoping that's our future.
Stay at it. I don't know where you are now
or
how it's all going, but you can get the dark, crappy times, because I've been there millions of times, and the last time was a really, really bad one, and you can come out the other end. It's a lot of work, but if you've got the right people and the right team, then it's a good amount of work. Like, I'm truly loving being back in the gym all the time, and I don't have to be here all the time. Like, it's one of the main things. I had to remove myself and allow Nathan to take control of the team and allow them to answer to him rather than them coming to me. And so I've been able to do that, but it makes me a better owner, I think, and it makes Nathan a better manager if I don't micromanage him.
Yeah, that's good. So I've got one more question. What are the things you do or you've put in place for retention?
For retention, so we've gone back into sending out weekly emails to members. So we were doing kind of monthly, and then it slipped off, and you know, we don't really do that. We've had some member nights, which are really popular here, getting local businesses involved to sort of help cater. And we did the Sutherland to Surf, which actually turned out to be a good retention thing because we met some different members that have been members here but haven't felt included maybe as much as when we go to a bodybuilding show or something like that.
I think the PT memberships are so the members that have jumped on because they're you know, PTing with, you know, they've obviously got a personal trainer. I think they're going to stay on long term, especially if they're new members. Sorry, because obviously, you know, new members, you know, if they are struggling with confidence, or especially with our gym with so much equipment, if they're not very experienced trainers and they just sign up and get lost, you know, amongst the crowd, and we're not doing our job with, you know, calling or retention, having that PT membership because that's what they've jumped on. They're staying and they're building confidence and they're meeting people. So they are becoming long-term members. I think
challenge is a good thing for retention. I think as well, just staying in front of people. I know we're probably going to run out of time.
Our social media too.
Yeah.
Getting more member focused, whereas before we would be like $0 joining fee, or we'd like just put up a Canva thing of some motivational post, whereas showing
gym members
and speaking to members and let them like I took a photo of a member today who ruptured his PCL, and I gave him a bit of a pat in the back and I told him I'm going to put his photo up on Instagram. He loved that, and he's been a member for 5 years. So just little things like that. Little things like that. It doesn't sound like much, but it makes a big difference to them, and they could have been thinking about leaving, or might have had an issue. And I think just little things like that make, you know, go a long way.
Yeah, thank you.
Great answers, guys. You've been so generous today, sharing what worked, what didn't work. I love the full transparency there. Massive compliments to you guys. You're a great team. You're sort of complementary skills and you know, inspiration to myself and all the other gym owners, you know, following along on the video. I like that there's sort of multiple facets to the way you're kind of improving. It's great you've got more members and some extra revenue, but I love that average spend is going up because you're getting some like PT and stuff through there. I love that there's people like Adam that are actually really like contributing really, really well, and everything doesn't sit on your shoulders exclusively because it feels like a team. It's more fun in a team. And congratulations on all your success. I know you've got sort of big goals over the next year or two, and I look forward to sort of being part of that journey. But thank you for your time, and I really, really appreciate you sharing your insights today.
It probably wouldn't have happened. 99% wouldn't have happened if we hadn't gotten on the call with you guys. So as I said, it was a bit doom and gloom before we started with you. So we'll thank you as much as you thank us.
Oh, very generous. Thanks so much. We'll let you go. Get back to your families. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
See you guys.
Thanks so much. Bye.